81,000 plus tourists from Germany made their way to Kenya in the last year. Tonight, we're discussing matters of Kenya-Germany relations, and to take us through this conversation is none other than Principal Secretary Foreign Affairs, Dr. Korir Singoei. Thank you, sir, for your time.
Thank you, Regina.
German-Kenya relations in the last 8 months, so to speak. From where you sit, how are we looking?
I think it's important to appreciate that this is a very long-standing relationship that spans 60 years.
But on the economic side, which is really important, is that Germany, as you know, is the largest economy in Europe. It accounts for 25% of Europe's economy. And vis-a-vis Kenya, Germany is the third exporter of our commodities coming out of Kenya. About 100 German companies are operating in Kenya, and they have invested in excess of 150 billion Kenya shillings, over this duration. So this is a very significant relationship. When it comes to matters tourism, I think you're completely right. Given the purchasing power of Germans, given their economic status, it means that they travel a great deal. And they have chosen traditionally Kenya as one of their very important destinations. We received, like you said, 81,000 tourists. That is not enough, although it's an increase by about 20,000 compared to the previous year. What we want to see is the doubling of these numbers over the next 1 year. And we want to do that partly leveraging on our cultural repertoire by reason of the fact that Kenya is the cradle of mankind. We'd like to really position that issue, and that's why, as part of this Bugerfest, for example, we will be showcasing the Turkana board, which is this fossil that is, that is like the original man.
You've actually picked something from my mind, and we think that Kenya, having been the only non-European country that is going to be participating in the Bugerfest, then that is a significant milestone. Actually opens a whole new spectrum when it comes to Kenya-German relations, as it were. The import of Kenya being part and parcel of this particular festival.
I think you are quite right, Regina, because in addition to showcasing the country's tourism offering, from our beautiful beaches to our wildlife offering, we will be showcasing our cultures and other offerings. But in addition to that, part of what makes Kenya competitive is our skill, the skill of our young people. Our education system continues to churn out some of the best brains. Our technical and vocational institutions are training many young people. And given Germany's aging population, given that demographic profile that they have, our young people can indeed find work in German industries, and it's not going to be low skill work. It's going to be high skill work, including in tech, and that's why, as part of this event, there will be a signing ceremony of a bilateral labor agreement between Germany and Kenya. Again, that will be the first bilateral labor agreement between Germany and an African country, which represents, as it were, another recognition of the depth of our relationship, but the confidence on our labor, the quality of our human capital, which I think, is really quite a plus for the country.
Now, after signing this particular labor agreement with the TVET, with TVETs to work in enterprises in Germany, have you lined up the areas in which now those who are going to benefit from this particular agreement are going to work into? Which areas are you looking at?
And so we're working very closely with the development component of Germany. So through GIZ, the German Development Agency, we are working on the entire ecosystem, on the entire value chain. And through our other state departments, there is a lot of training that is taking place within TVETs on language competence and on the issue of curating a common curriculum for our engineering graduates, for our plumbers, for our builders, and all sorts of skills that the German market actually requires. And so we're working on a joint certification framework that would then mean that once you're trained by a Kenyan TVET, you will not only receive accreditation under Kenyan law or under Kenyan policy, but you will also be accredited, to work in Germany. So you will be market ready to be able to operate within that environment as well.
Where is government looking at to attract FDIs, if not setting up shop here in the country?
While indeed it is true that we are negotiating a bilateral labor agreement and we've concluded that it will be signed for Kenyans to work in Germany, as a matter of fact, what is more exciting for many Kenyan young people is for German enterprises to set up here so that those young people from Kenya can work in German manufacturing corporations, German agricultural corporations, from wherever they are, from Kenya, from Nairobi, from Nakuru, from Eldoret, and from other countries as well.
Language barrier is one challenge. And now if we're going to be signing this labor agreement, the issue of that has to be addressed. Is this something that we have, or rather the agreement has looked into?
Absolutely, and that's why I was saying that we're working across the entire ecosystem. Now, there are two things that one must appreciate, that German is increasingly becoming multicultural, and so even though German is the national language, a lot of people in Germany speak English, especially the relatively younger generation. But what we are doing with the TVETs and through support from GIC and the Goethe Institute, which is the German Language Institute, and the German Embassy here, is that we are incorporating a language component in the curricula that is preparing these TVET graduates for the German market. And so we are working around the issue of addressing this difficult sort of language barrier, so to speak.
We're going to be going for this Bugerfest, the very first. This is history in the making. For a person who is hearing it today for the first time, how are they likely to benefit or participate if they're not going to be taking that flight to Berlin?
They will have a meeting, the Kenyan diaspora in Germany will have a meeting with His Excellency the President, where they will engage on a number of issues, and they will be able to also showcase, at the event. But for Kenyans who will not be able to travel, I think there will be opportunity through the media to be able to follow this event. There are a number of platforms that will be live streaming the event. There will be live conversations. They can be able to make their comments. They can provide their input, and we will be running operations, at the ministry as well as at the embassy in Berlin. That will facilitate more engagement by Kenyans with this process. But in addition to that, it is our hope and our intention that at the end of this two-day event, it's really a very short event, it's a two-day event, we will bring it back here in Kenya. We will be able to have a session where we will be able to provide extensive feedback to the public about the outcomes and the opportunities that have emerged as a result of this visit, and we will be able then to engender more feedback as well from our young people here.
Mm-hmm. So away from Kenya-German relations, from the position you hold as chair to the committee, the delegation that is actually pushing for the AUC chairmanship, where are we at? I mean, it's about Kenya's foreign policy, right? Where are we at?
Well, I'm pleased to say that, as you know, 2 weeks ago, in the presence of heads of states of the East African community, President Ruto, at a ceremony hosted at State House, launched the candidature of Prime Minister Odinga. And so he presented him to the world as a candidate for the African Union Commission chair. Now, Mr. Odinga was at FOCAC in Beijing to do two things. Number one, to understand the partnership structure between China and Africa, because as AUC chair, one of the roles he will play is advancing that partnership. And so he needed to be part and parcel of the conversations that were taking place so that he would be able to have a deeper appreciation. We are extremely confident that the Mr. Odinga's candidature is progressing well. It's been well received. Over the next couple of weeks, we will be convening the larger East African community at the technical level, where we will be able to take a firm position to endorse his candidature, for example. There will be another reception that Mr. Odinga will host in Addis Ababa for the Permanent Representatives Council, which is the council of ambassadors based in Addis, where he will also be able to present his vision now. He will now discuss his vision. And on and on, as we head towards what, in our view, will be a very, very successful campaign.
Indeed. And on that positive note, we bring this conversation to a close. Kenya-German relations dating back several years, and now Kenya is on the precipice of history. Come next week as the first non-European country to be showcasing at the Citizens Festival in Berlin, Germany. I'm Regina Manyara. You're watching KBC Channel 1.